You remember that the Nigerian Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, and every of the organized labor have threatened that they will begin nationwide strike and protest. And that the federal government intervened. The president met with the TUC and the NLC, trying to ensure that there is no shutdown of economy and the running of government or the nation moving forward. What is the Labour stand on that one? Just about the time when we are trying to wrap our heads around what is going on, the resident doctors are now angry. They said the federal government must meet their demands. Don't forget, if you're asking the question, who are these resident doctors? How many are they? What is their population? What is their percentage in the whole scheme of things? In about less than 30,000 of the medical doctors that we have in Nigeria, the resident doctors are over 10,000. You know what it means. They are the senior doctors that bridge the gap between the consultants and the other doctors in Nigeria. They hold a very significant value in the medical chain in Nigeria. They said on Wednesday they will go out to protest and they will down tool. This means a very dire situation in the nation's medical and health system. And that's the first business that we need to quickly deal with. And we get to other business. I have some very, very knowledgeable experts and personalities that will deal with the ministerial nominees and the Niger coup situation that is happening and how Nigeria is handling that. Let's quickly speak with the president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Emeka Orji, joins us virtually. Dr. Orji, thanks so much for joining us. We thought that things have been settled because the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, had intervened. He met with the president. We thought that the federal government is listening to you, but now from the communique that was shown on the screen right now, it showed that things are not resolved. And you and your colleagues have made up your mind that you will not work and you'll be on the street. What exactly have gone wrong?
Thank you, Shehu, for having me. Well, we want to thank the Speaker of the House of Representatives for his efforts. We also thank the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. And indeed, we thank every other government official who has, in one way or the other, tried to intervene in this matter. But certainly, we are still aware of the demands that we've made, which everybody, there's no government official that has tried to intervene in this matter that has ever told us that that those demands are not germane and that they shouldn't be met. But the question is, up to now, how come none of those issues have been addressed? No single one of them. Take, for instance, the very important issue of a one-for-one replacement. You see, we keep hammering on these things, and the Nigerians will agree with us that our hospitals are massively depleted. We do not have the numbers anymore. We do not have the doctors and nurses to take care of Nigerians. And that circular we were promised as at February this year that it will be released. And up till now, it has not, because it is that circular that we give the chief medical directors across the country the opportunity to quickly replace doctors and nurses that have left the system in search of greener pastures. And as long as we don't do that, our members will continue to be overworked, they will continue to die, they will continue to break down, and we don't think that should continue to happen. And part of the problems we have is that when you see some interested government officials trying to intervene, then you now see what looks as if there are some other people who are trying to aggravate the matter. And unfortunately, that is what has led to this escalation that will likely happen by this week if the government agencies involved do not take appropriate steps to address these issues that we've been raising for a long time now.
Okay, so this, and I asked you this question the other time that we got to speak with you, that this did not begin, this particular matter, your grievances did not begin against government, rather, did not begin with the Bola Tinubu government. It began way back into the old government, but where government is a continuum and your demands are still subsistent. So the question is it possible that you give this government some breathing space, just to play the devil's advocate in this matter, because this government had come into office and they have enormous challenges on their plate already. On one hand, your colleagues within the organized labor, which you are also part of, are also threatening based on the subsidy matter. Now, the government is dealing with that. The economy situation is there. Security situation is there. Is it possible that you give this government maybe some time to put their house in order? They're still trying to settle cabinet issues.
Well, we are doing that already. But the unfortunate thing is that as we keep waiting, things are deteriorating. Do we rather wait until every doctor leaves the hospital and you don't have anybody there again? Look, what happens when an association issues notice, issues a notice of the ceremony and makes a demand, is for government to identify the very urgent demands and address them. And then the other one that will take a little more negotiation to happen, you sit down with them and kickstart the processes. Unless, of course, we are saying that amongst all the things you listed, labor, economy and all that, unless, of course, all of us have agreed that the health sector is not important to be addressed. I did tell you that the hospitals are deserted. It's an emergency. Patients are dying already. When you bring patients to emergency department of the hospitals, you don't have enough doctors there to take care of them, and they are dying. Patients come to the hospital to see their doctors in the clinic. They spend the whole day there. They end up not seeing them. And then even this issue of 2023 medical residency training fund, it was captured in the budget for the year, and this should have been paid earlier on in the year. We are already in August, and it has not been paid. Okay, so our members believe that these issues are very urgent, and incidentally, the government side, they have not said they cannot address them. But the question now is, how come these things have not been addressed? And if you recall, sometime in May, when we went on a warning strike, the government side called us and signed an agreement with us. The second one-for-one replacement is clearly written in that agreement that it will be released on or before 5th of June. Everything about that thing has been done. It's just for the circular to be issued. And we are saying, okay, even if you don't want to issue this circular, then you must have another way of recruiting clinical staff to replace those who have left the system. Because that is essentially what we're asking for. And as we are talking, people are still living.
But Dr. Oji, can you give us an understanding? Just for a moment, Dr. Oji. Let me ask you straight off. We know that the population of medical doctors in practice registered with the NMA, it's about 30,000. Am I correct?
Well, that may be the record you have, but you record that even last year, the Nigerian Medical Association, it was, was quoted to have said that we have just about 24,000 doctors in Nigeria.
Okay, so let's assume, just for a moment, I'm going somewhere with my question. Let's assume that, okay, 30,000 might be a flamboyant figure to call. It means that we do not have more than 30,000 medical doctors. And the United Nations ratio of a medical doctor to citizen ratio, how many is it now?
It's supposed to be 1 doctor to 600 population.
But what do we have presently with the numbers?
We are doing more than 1 doctor to 10,000 as at the last time we checked, and it is getting worse.
Okay, now, so we do know that the membership of the resident doctors in Nigeria are about 10,000. But you are saying that more of those numbers have left the country. Is that right?
The numbers fluctuate. We used to be about 16,000, but because of the fact that people live every day, it's only an estimate that we can give you between 12,000 to 15,000. People live every day, people join and people live. So it's difficult to be emphatic with the number. There is a study we are doing now to update ourselves on the numbers as at today.
All right.
And that will be released very soon.
So the question I'm asking is that at what is the rate? Because one of your major demands is that the federal government to attend to the doctors who are leaving the country, brain drain. And you are asking that there is a pressure on those of you who are left behind. Is that right?
That is correct.
Now, So can you give us how many doctors in the last 1 year, how many resident doctors that is, have left the country?
The figure we have is that close to 100 to 200 leave every month. And so if you do the math, in a space of 1 year, we would have lost between 1,000 to 2,000 resident doctors. And you need to realize that we are talking about resident doctors. There are other cadre of doctors that are leaving.
Okay, so
consultants.
Which countries? I know that a lot of them left to the UK. Saudi Arabia is also there. Canada is there. Which other countries are these doctors living the most? Because it's not only in your own practice that you find a lot of Nigerians living. It's the Japa syndrome. It cuts across. But you are saying as an organization or as a union that is impacting on your practice. Is that right?
That is correct, and some of them are even going to African countries. That will tell you how bad Nigerian health sector has become, that doctors will leave this country and go to African countries because they have better working conditions there, they have better infrastructure, and we are supposed to be giants of Africa.
Now, so what we're saying now, what you and your colleagues have agreed is that from Wednesday morning by 10 a.m., you are going to be storming the Federal Ministry of Health, the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation, and all the federal and state health institutions nationwide, and you will picket them. For those who may not really being on the street, may not understand what it means to picket. It means that you probably will be putting chains and locks on some, and you not allow some of these gates to be open. Am I right?
That is correct.
So it means that in some health institution in Nigeria, not only that your members are not going to work, we're talking about almost 15,000 doctors in Nigeria, but also you will not allow operations to go on. Is that the right thing?
That is the mandate of our National Executive Council.
So do you think that this will impact negatively on the already bad situation in this country?
So that is the reason why we are appealing to government to intervene at this point. We believe that this can be resolved. We have done everything we can to resolve this, but our members just feel that the government has not done enough, and they believe that they have capacity to do more. So, and that is why, you see, during the meeting yesterday, we had options, of starting this protest by Monday. But again, in our usual manner, we still shifted it to still give enough time for government to intervene before Wednesday next week, because we simply cannot just be on this total and indefinite strike action. And it looks as if we have been ignored. And patients are just, Nigerians are suffering, our members are suffering too. And so we believe that the government should do more to address these challenges. They can resolve these things. I have been saying it in a matter of a day or two. So let them identify the very urgent demands we've made, try to solve them by tomorrow or next, then sit down with us, let us put timelines to other demands we've made. We are patriots, we are reasonable people. We are willing to work, but what our members are saying is that they cannot continue to work in this condition when every week we report deaths of doctors, every week, and that is deaths. We are not talking about those who are breaking down. For God's sake, the fact that our doctor-to-patient ratio is 1 to 10,000, practically speaking, what do you think is happening? People have left. Everybody has left, and people who are left behind, they are breaking down under the weight of enormous work. And then we still have some doctors outside the system who could have been quickly recruited. The fact that they are not being recruited, many of them are leaving too. Okay, so this is an emergency, and we believe that government should see it as such.
Dr. Oji, I'd like us to wrap up now. I would like to plead with you and your colleagues. I've done that once in the past to say, because I know family members, my immediate younger brother is a medical doctor, and I know just how difficult it is to get to being a medical doctor. I mean, aside that, any other profession is also very tedious to get by, but I know just how important your practice is. So, I mean, essential service to this nation. But then, we are all in it, isn't it? And we're hoping that government will take action and do the right thing. And I hope that it's going to be well for you and your colleagues. Thanks so much, Dr. Emeka Oji, President, Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors.
Thank you for having me, Shehu.
Thank you.